2 months ago, I started following my own twist on Emil's new training protocol, and I got some pretty amazing results. At the end of that video, I promised I would keep on going for 100 days and try to find out if these incredible gains are going to keep on coming or if these 100 days are just a waste of time. By the way, this video is sponsored by Fictitious Climbing, but more on that later. Emil's study essentially showed that by combining the daily 10-minute Abraham routine with max hangs, you could get the best bang for your buck, stimulating different areas and leading to essentially twice as many gains. So for the next 100 days, I'll be doing my own version of this daily protocol. On top of that, I'll do max hangs 2 times per week, which in the past has already given me quite a bit of improvement. I won't go too deep into this since I already mentioned it in the previous video, but if you want to click and watch that right here, feel free to do so. But I modified Emil's routine trying to fix the most common complaints. And by doing it on the porta board instead of on a normal hangboard, I managed to keep the weight consistent, preventing injuries. You might be asking, why am I going to do this for 100 days? If you've seen any of my videos, you'll know me as the guy that actually stopped training and started climbing harder. I think to understand this, we need some context. I've been climbing for almost 10 years, and the first half of that really focused on training. But after a series of injuries, I went from full crimping everything to now open handing almost everything. When I moved to Japan and started working at B-Pump, I stopped training completely to focus on getting better at technique as much as I possibly could. But after 2 years in climbing up most of the grades, I feel like I've suddenly hit a wall. I also have a climbing trip planned around the day 80, and small crimps are my biggest weakness. So for the next 100 days, I am going to turn my weak fingers into a strong asset. After seeing the day 30 results, I was super hyped. But when I had to adjust the amount of weight I was pulling to be in line with my new max, it was suddenly really hard. I already knew from the beginning that this was not going to be as easy as the first 30 days. Anything over 30 kilos seems really heavy. And if I'm not mentally there, I can barely pull it up. And I mean, it makes sense. It's close to 50% of my body weight hanging on one arm. But despite this, I kept on pushing through. I knew from my previous 2 experiments with finger training that my confidence on crimps would keep on going up. And it's not like in the past where I would train and not see it transferred to my climbing. I think that thanks to focusing on my technique for the past 2 years, now I get back almost everything I put into training. Whereas before, I would feel I would get like 30%. As the weeks passed, I was getting more and more used to the weight. I also started to see a lot of boulders which used to be impossible to go down in a day or 2, which was really motivating. For the next 30 days straight, when it came to crimps, suddenly I felt I was becoming a monster. I could feel my confidence going up. The biggest thing was that before, whenever I would hold a crimp, I could only focus on the fact that my hand was opening up. But now, it was suddenly okay, and I was starting to think about other body parts like my legs and hips. This actually led me to moving better on the wall and not just brute forcing everything like in the past. At this point, I was actually so motivated by the results, I actually stopped doing max hang. A mistake, right? But would this come back in the future and bite me? I went on a 30-day climbing spree, and I climbed every single session at a different gym. I also tried moonboard for the first time, and I'm not going to spoil it since it's probably going to be a video of its own, but I was pretty good at it. It felt like there was a disconnect between my perception of myself and my current level. Even the yellow holds, which at first glance looked horrible, I could somehow hold on to them even though it was just my first time. If you want to try this routine by yourself, I highly recommend having a pickup board like the porta board instead of a normal hangboard, since you can just leave it set up and always have the same weight under your desk like me. This is for sure the fastest and easiest way to do the 10-minute density hangs routine. For the max hangs, I think a normal hangboard might be easier if you're already pulling over your weight, since you don't need to be moving as much weight around. Luckily, today's sponsor, Fictitious Climbing, has got you covered. They make incredible training equipment from hangboards all the way to porta boards, and with the code CRISPYCRIMPS10, you can get 10% off your porta board. I've been using it for around 6 months and I love it. It's in my bag every single time, and it really saved me these past weeks when I went to other gyms and they didn't have a hangboard for warm-up. As usual, thank you Frictitious Climbing for sponsoring my finger training. Seeing that I performed so well in different gyms and also on boards, my crimp confidence was sky high. This was really nice because soon I was about to go on a 3-day climbing trip with the boys, and as you can imagine, being able to hold tiny crimps is key for outdoor climbing here in Japan. For the trip, we got on a plane to Kochi, where 2 of the most incredible lines were going to be waiting for us. A pair of giant rocks right by the sea. The only bad thing is that my Casper-like skin hadn't seen the sun in months, and by the end, my neck was looking like a palito de la selva. Bruh. The trip in itself was a success, and I overcame 2 of the biggest things I have a hard time on: small crimps and scary boulders. But when I got home, I was so tired from all this climbing that suddenly I had lost all motivation. In these past weeks, leading up to the trip where everything was going well and ending with me sending the routes we wanted to on the trip, almost felt like the goal had already been achieved and that training from now on would have no meaning. But now that I'm filming this here and I still have 2 weeks left before day 100, it feels kind of silly. Talking about all the improvements I've seen over the past 85 days seems like it's kind of stupid to drop the ball on the last 15. It's pretty obvious all the effort I've put into this was worth it. So I'm hyped to give it my all for the last 2 weeks and finish on day 100 strong. Throughout these 100 days, a lot of things changed. My fingers got stronger, we hit 5,000 subscribers, and my confidence went up. So before the results, I want to share some of the biggest things I've noticed to get the most out of this type of training. This might seem obvious, but you have to try really freaking hard. When I pull at 80%, it seems really hard, but when I give it 100 and go all out, the increase on how much force I can output doesn't grow only 20%. It's more like 60. This showed me that being able to break that mental barrier and dig deep when it gets really hard is a skill. Now don't go out there and start bullying like a maniac and get injured. All I'm saying is that the mind-muscle connection really matters. Another thing I noticed is that when I climb on in-cut holds, I feel crazy strong, even if it's relatively small. Digging the tip of my fingers feels really nice, and I can transfer a lot more of my force now. So when you're doing this training, be very conscious of feeling the tips of your fingers curling into it and actually driving through. Before this, I would usually hold it in a chisel position or open hand, so it really didn't matter if the hold was in-cut or slightly rounded. It felt like I could passively hang on it, but now it feels like I can actively crimp on it. My final piece of advice would be to keep the bases covered. What I mean is warming up properly, increasing the weight adequately and not overdoing it, resting properly, and also keeping consistent over a long amount of time. If I would have gotten injured, not only would it have stopped any games from happening, it would have been a jump back. Instead of that, now I feel more confident than ever on crimps and my fingers feel great. And I also no longer have that weird pain I used to have in the middle of my finger right here. Personally, I'm already really happy with my improvement, so I don't even care about the results, but I really like numbers going up, so I'm gonna give it my all on the last testing day. I kept going and soon it was day 100.
That's my limit. My finger is barely opening up.
If you enjoyed this video, then check out this one next. And thank you again to Frictitious for sponsoring this video.